Now, as I'm working on the light side of the fruit itself, what I'm adding a little bit of warmth into that mixture. It's not a pure white by any means. I want to reserve that pure white for my highlights at the very end. There's a little bit of the red in it so that it has some of the red to tie the white seeded fruit with the rest of the rind and the rest of the painting. So in order to harmonize all the colors here, there will be some red, even if it's just the tiniest amount in most of the mixtures of the piece, except for those areas where it gets bright green. Starting to add some of the whites into these reds here and playing some of the opaque colors with the transparent ones. So inside the rind here, there will be more opacity because the light is hitting it, and that will be played against some of the more transparent reds that are on the outside of the rind and are in the shadow. Now, my initial pass on the white fruit didn't have enough contrast, so I'm just darkening slightly a little bit here. So this is a little bit of a corrective measure. I wanted to have enough contrast that we really get the form reading, but I want it to feel light because it's a white object. You don't want to go too dark on it, or else it won't maintain that white quality to it. It'll feel a little bit disjointed. So there's a real balance there between how dark and how light you make it. Now, the challenging task on the right-hand side is to make, in a very narrow value range, the area that's being hit by the light and the outer skin that's being hit by the shadow, creating enough difference there in order to separate the two without having a real high contrast, because we can't compete with the values that are going on in the area of the white fruit. We need to still maintain the deep, rich red tones that are in the skin, both inside and out. And so you can see that the values on that side are just much closer together, but one side has a little bit more of the white, or the inner part that's getting hit by the light has more white in it. And that's kind of how I'm separating those two. Now, at this point, I'm finally going to introduce some of these bright, rich greens that are on the edges of these parts of the fruit. And that's going to help me better judge how the reds are working. Sometimes by just having the complements, it helps bring out certain elements in the reds and some of the nuances. This will help also give some relief to some of the reds. There's so much red there, you need to have a little bit of a balance in the color scheme. And it's nice that nature, more often than not, presents us with those nice balances, whether they're fruit or flowers or animals. It's amazing how nature has these beautiful balances in color that are such lovely subjects to look at. Now for a second pass on the white of the dragon fruit, just to bring it up a little bit higher on the light side and make the light just a little bit more dramatic. So I'm adding a little bit more white and increasing the thickness of the paint. Now I'm going to put a muted version of the red of the rind down here as the reflection. And I always put the reflection color first if I can, because then when I put the foreground color or the ground plane color in afterwards, the edges will be very soft and we'll have that little base to work off of that red reflection.